Africa Climate Resilient Investment Facility, AFRIRES, strengthening capacity of member states and stakeholders to build climate-resilient investments in transport, energy, agriculture, water and ecosystem sector.
Karima Bounemra bin Sultan. I'm the director of IDEP. So IDEP is the African Institute for Economic Development and Planning. And basically it is a training institution that was created something like 60 years ago. We are already 60 years old, with the idea to support the capacity of newly independent African countries in planning their development, designing, planning their development and implementing it. Of course, IDEP through the years has gone through different types of services and offered different types of services. Now we are focusing on what I would call short-term courses on selected issues relating mainly to the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, known as Agenda 2030, and the Africa Union 2063 Agenda, the Africa we want. It is in this context that among the issues that we are dealing with, we have a special cluster that looks at natural resource management, within which we look at issues relating to environment and climate change. At the same time, climate change for us is a cross-cutting issue. It is not separated from the other priorities of the continent. If you look at migration, you can find a climate change component. If you look at trade, you find a climate change component. If you look at urbanization and planning actually for new cities, if you look at rural development, if you look at gender issues, if you look at opportunity for the youth, then through climate change, you can find a lot of relationship and linkages. So that's why IDEP is very much interested in integrating climate change into its very broad range of training catalog. And climate change is also part of the issues on which we are focusing in our research work, because IDEP has been, through the 6 decades of its life, has been acting as a think tank where ideas are presented, discussed, where different positions are welcome, and where we think that if we want to really serve the Africa agenda, we have to welcome different views and enrich the discussion about the development in that way. Our training, actually we have something that is called a strategic plan. And the strategic plan is built based on our interaction with member states. It is built on our analysis of what the development priorities are. So today, and this is the end of the current strategic plan, and we are working on a new one. Today it is organized around 4 main clusters. One is about macro modeling, all issues relating, I would say, to the fundamentals of planning, prospective studies, data analysis, etc., which used to be, I would say, the core work of IDEP. But in addition to that, I mean, we cannot just work on macro modeling alone. So we have a cluster on regional, what we call it regional integration, that deals with issues relating to trade, infrastructure, and industrialization. The third one is about natural resource management, and it has land, agriculture, mining, environmental issues. And the fourth one is about social development, with special focus on gender, youth, urbanization and migration. So this is, I would say, the core business of IDEP. But we are also convinced that we are supposed to be, and it is what we do actually, to anticipate a number of issues and be aware of what could be the expectations of the countries, etc. And we were very happy, for example, a few years ago to decide that we would be working on risk management. And when we speak about building resilience, it is also one way of integrating into the planning processes the risk dimension. Because if you want to be resilient, it means that you are able to take into account all the potential scenarios. For example, when we had the COVID pandemic, our member states were not prepared for it, and they had to have to take urgent decision on a number of issues: financial issues, education, of course, health, etc., etc. And we thought that if they were equipped with good understanding of risk management, they could have been more easily ready actually to adjust to a non-usual circumstance. And for us, building resilience, what is also called building forward better, because we are not going back, we are going forward, needs to take into account a number of elements, conditions that were not integrated in the planning processes. And we consider that planning cannot be dealt with in sort of business as usual linear process. We need to integrate in it potential issues, crises, and be ready to find solution to those crises by the development of various scenarios to handle the crisis. And the crisis can be health linked, like the COVID, can be finance linked, like or agriculture, etc. What we are seeing today with the war in Ukraine. And for the last decades, we have seen a sort of recurrent crisis occurring because of climate change, with floods, with droughts, with tsunamis, etc., etc. And it is important for our country to integrate all these in their planning processes, and it's how we are trying to assist them actually to become stronger in creating the right condition for resilience. And resilience is not, I would say, a sort of defensive or reactive approach to development. It should be proactive, and countries should be able actually to proactively, creatively anticipate and build forward better. First, I think that this group is very special because they have been selected among the most dynamic participants of an online training. And as such, they have come prepared already. And during the first day and the first session of interaction with them, I've been really amazed by the energy, the ideas that they were bringing to this training. So because they have already gone through the online training and now they are here for the on-site, I'm confident that we will not stop here. And what we are expecting is, okay, for them to gain as much as possible, but for us to be able to follow up with them to see how what they have gained as knowledge can be adapted to their own context, their own situation. We have various areas of interest. There is transport, there is policy, there is data, there is agriculture. And as such, I mean, they will be applying what they have learned in a variety of sectors. And we will learn from their experience and see where they will be able actually to implement, and we will be following with them and assessing maybe the missing elements that they would need to further turn what they have learned into concrete action with tangible results. At the same time, they are coming from various countries with different profiles. And for us, it is very important that they create among themselves a network. Because, of course, they learn from us, but we are not here actually just preaching for a sector. We are here encouraging cross-fertilization, sharing of various experiences, etc., etc. So these are the kind of results we are expecting from this exercise, and we will conduct a survey with them to get their feedback at the end of the training, so that one, we do whatever I have said before, but we can also fine-tune our offer to the second batch, because for us this should be a sort of ongoing process, and we need to train as many young people as possible in this area. But I was very, very much excited about what they said, and I'm confident that they will act accordingly.
AfriRes facility is a joint initiative of the UN Economic Commission for Africa, Africa Union Commission, the World Bank, and the African Development Bank, with initial funding from the Nordic Development Fund. The training, in conjunction with the African Institute for Economic Development and Planning, IDEP, aims at strengthening the continent's decision-makers' capacity to plan, design, and implement climate-resilient projects. IDEP is the UN Economic Commission for Africa's training arm based in Dakar, Senegal.